Hi, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of 5 Questions. Today I'm standing here with Misael Sanchez. And Misael, why don't you tell everybody how you're involved with the film industry?
Sure. I am the director of the International Film Institute of New York, which is a filmmaking intensive program that runs out of Sarah Lawrence College. I've been doing this program for about 15 years now, where we take students and we train them from everything from screenwriting all the way up to production. All students make a short film. In addition to that, I'm also faculty at Sarah Lawrence College, where I teach cinematography.
All right, and today we're going to talk to you about cinematography, right?
That's right.
So I just want to remind you how this works. When I found out that I was sitting down with you, I asked my students to send in questions, and that's where we got all of today's questions.
Great, I'm looking forward to it.
So are you ready to answer 5 questions?
I think I am.
All right, so let's go. Question number 1. So what is a cinematographer?
Well, the cinematographer is the person who's in charge of the look of the film. So that's the person who, in coordination with the director, works on the style. What is this film going to look like when it's all said and done? They sit down, they talk about like what color palette they're going to be using. Is it a bright movie? Is it a dark movie? Is it a happy movie? Is it a cold movie? Does it take place in the winter? Does it take place during the summer? And if so, how do you represent that? Hollywood, a cinematographer does one thing, and that's tell everyone else where the lights go. In New York or on the East Coast, if you were going to be an independent filmmaker, a cinematographer's job is a little bit more open, and they do a lot of different things to get the job done.
Question number 2. What path do you recommend that an average film student take if he or she wants to be a cinematographer?
Okay, well, there's different ways to become a cinematographer, but a lot of them begin at the very bottom. You don't just become a DP. Cinematographer, director of photography is the same thing. You don't just become a DP. A DP is based on experience. The way to get to the top is to learn all the steps up to the top. As a student or as a young student who's looking to become something in the area of filmmaking, the best thing to do is just shoot. Shoot as much as you can, whenever you can. Experiment. Now with all the wonderful toys that we have in terms of for making movies, there's a lot of opportunity that you have to just to build a reel, basically, is what you want to do throughout your life. And the sooner you start, the better you're going to do at making mistakes, because it's all about making mistakes too. I mean, as a DP, you make a lot of mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes are gold, and sometimes they're not. But the more you do, the more you know.
Question number 3. What is the best and the worst part of a successful cinematographer's average work day?
Wow, what is the best and worst part of a cinematographer's average work day? The best part of the cinematographer's work day is when you come together at the beginning, in the morning, and everyone is eager and ready to get it going, to get the project off the ground. Usually it starts off with a very good breakfast, where I do believe, and I think anybody who works in film would tell you, that one of the most important aspects of any production is food. So you make everybody happy, bring them food. And then I guess when you want to say the worst part of the day would be sometimes towards the middle, you know, because you have your ups and downs throughout the day, and when you're kind of like in the middle of something and you start to realize that your day is running out, that suddenly you don't have as many hours you did, you know, when you started. Now that basically you're winding off, and you still have work to do, and there's still like pages that need to be shot, and you start to panic. And how are we going to get this done? That could probably be the worst. But in the end, you know, it's a little bit of a roller coaster, you know, and that's again part of that feeling of like, I want to do this.
Question number 4. What are 3 movies that I can watch as examples of great cinematography?
Well, this is a very interesting question, because when someone's very subjective point of view about what a great movie or a great film related to that represents cinematography, it varies from person to person. So what I would recommend in just a general idea of great cinematography are, let me think, I would say 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's a great example of maybe wide shots and very composed imagery, which is great. Raging Bull is another great. It's a film shot in black and white. There's a lot of special effects in it that take place, you know, fast motion, slow motion. It's a great example of cinematography. The Last Emperor is another great film, and it's a period film. It takes place during a war. But what they do in that movie is they use color to represent the different stages of life related to this emperor and how he grows up in that time frame. But what I would tell you more than anything else is to look up Gordon Willis. They call him the Prince of Darkness. He is a cinematographer who's done a collection of films, some of which you will know, some of which you will not know, but his entire career is representative to all cinematographers of what great cinematography is.
Question number 5. Which skill sets are necessary and need to be developed for a student who's planning to study cinematography?
The best way to study cinematography is to study the world around you. You have to watch and pay attention to everything. You have to look at the way light falls on objects. You have to see the way rooms are lit. Okay, the first thing to do, or when I think about cinematography, I have to try to recreate environments that you, the viewer, is somewhat familiar with. So if you tell me I need to be in a room that's there's sun spilling in through the window, and I want it to be someone's waking up and it's a beautiful day. Well, I need to have a reference point in my mind as to what that is in order for me to be able to recreate it. So attention to detail and attention to just your world is one of the most important things to really be a cinematographer.
All right, Misael, so you survived 5 questions. How do you feel?
I feel great.
All right, good. So I want to thank you for taking the time today to answer my students' questions. And if they want to know anything else, they can contact you through my website.
Absolutely. Anything that comes up, just let them know that I'm here to answer questions.
All right, and I'll pass them on to you.
Good.
Thank you so much for answering 5 questions, and thank you for tuning in.